Welcome to the Business Buyer Diaries. My name is Nathan Platter. I'm a full-time employee, and I bought a business. I did everything right, from finding the deal, handling all the due diligence on 63 opportunities, and ultimately bought a profitable gym. And boy, was I in for a big surprise as a new owner. I chronicled everything in real time, including the biggest wins to the stressful nights at 2 a.m. I'm sharing my journey without sugarcoating anything, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's today's episode.
Well, I just caught up with a friend, had a chance to go for a golf outing with a friend, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of funny timing. So this guy and I go back a couple of years, maybe talk like twice a year, from a prior life of just where we interacted a whole lot more. But he happens to be a member at one of the clubs that I'm buying, and he has no idea, and that's okay. I'm kind of keeping under the radar, but he saw that I posted once or twice in the Facebook group on like nutrition stuff, and he's like, "Oh, hey man, haven't seen you in forever. We'd love to catch up. Let's play golf sometime." So we caught up and played golf. And we're just talking. Since we reconnected over the gym Facebook group, I just found to see what's your experience? So I'm trying to get back into the gym things. I haven't really done that. Interested, and it's definitely really cool. But he also shared some of the pros and cons of what he's seen, because he's been friends with owners of the same brand across the Twin Cities. And so he expressed here's some of the pros that these owners have gone through. Here's some of the cons of what the owners have gone through. Probably the easiest con to know is that the hours that you're open, that you're doing business, are from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So it's the reverse banking hours. Banking hours are like the cushy 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., like the DMV hours. But it's when people are off of work that they want those workouts. At least the higher paying customers or members that you want. And so that was just an acknowledgement that the seller, and he doesn't know that they're selling, I think he knows, or just that the other club owners that it's your income is capped to an extent, because you have your rent, you have your staff, and since these are clubs that have instructors and staff in them, they're not like a 24/7 access club, that you're going to have more limited availability. So you're limited by having instructors. You're also going to be limited by who is able to make it to a shift. If someone can't make it, are you going to be the person that goes to that shift? You charge a higher price for that, fairly enough, but you're also going to be held hostage on some level by that higher touch, higher service offering. And so you also acknowledge some of these clubs have had tougher days. Right now they're in very good shape, but at some point these clubs were struggling. And so they're not recession-proof, they're not bulletproof, and so that's something that he's aware of. And so even if they're doing really well, you're still going to be limited by that physical space, by that occupancy, and that staffing limitation. And so he's in a very commission-heavy role, things like real estate, sales, I'm trying to think of other good commission roles. And so in his world, guys can make easily $100,000. The top players in the industry, I'm sure, make $1 million a year, or you're really good at the business, you're a high producer, your staff, and you can build a team, you can build satellite offices, you can get a lot going. So I'm sure he's seen folks that make $1 million a year, and I don't know what he makes, but somewhere between $100,000 and $1 million a year. And so he acknowledged, if I'm looking to make $1 million a year, it's going to be really hard owning a couple of gyms, unless I own a lot of gyms. And that's totally fine. That's normal. But it was just helpful to remember that there are going to be folks that are going to be super oh, this is the best thing ever. You'll be your own boss. You'll write everything up, and you'll be able to drive. It's really silly. On social media, the biggest thing right now is accountants say here's how to buy a G-Wagon, a Mercedes G-Wagon. That's, for those who don't know, that's the Kim Kardashian, Kanye West $200,000 car. Here's how to buy that car, write it off 100% and pay no income taxes. Yeah, that's true, but it does nothing for your personal life unless you really want to own an extravagant vehicle and have no money in the bank. But all that to say, so there are folks that are going to be that rah, the world is your oyster, this is only a good decision. And the person today, they're going to be that voice of reason on. You've seen folks that have made fortunes doing his line of work in sales. He's hey, you'll be limited on this much upside. You'll have this much availability, but you also have these hours. and you'll have this kind of more transient in nature staff situation that you'll be working with. You'll also be having members that will be paying a higher price point. So more of that voice of reason. And so it's helpful to have folks that will pump you up and really be thrilled with that like excessively high optimism, but then folks that are also helping you stay grounded along the way. I don't want to imply that he was negative about it, because he wasn't whatsoever. But as I'm telling him, like, hey, I'm checking out some of these clubs that are high touch, some that are low touch, some that are very premium, like Equinox level things, but they're way out of my price point. And just sharing, like, here's some of the industries things I've seen, and here's some areas where I think we could do business together, in a couple of years down the road. And to hear what projects he's working on, and what some of the headaches he's having to go through, because he's in his line of work, like, he can do sales, but he can also like build teams. That has headaches. He can also like flip businesses and flip assets that he sells as well, and those are not like risk-free endeavors, and those also carry high profit margins and high rewards if you do them right. So there's gonna be risk in every adventure. Every venture, whether it's your income that's at risk, your net worth that's going at risk, or your investors that are going to be at risk. There's going to be risk in every endeavor. And just acknowledging that and then seeing it and understanding like this is a very real possible outcome. And to hear that outside perspective too. So it was fun. Just have an outing, catching up with an old friend. We'll probably do this a couple times a year. But someone that would love to do business with. It's also good to have folks that can give you I don't want to say a reality check, because that sounds negative, but someone who is going to pump the brakes, make sure you're going into certain things with eyes wide open, even if they don't know all the details, that they know and what some of the pros and cons are to every situation. Super valuable, super helpful. If you only have folks that are pumping you up and giving you the positive advice, then you don't really have good friends. You need folks that are willing to give you the reality on some sticky situations too. So a lot of fun with that. Hang out with those friends, folks that are willing to give you the real life perspective on your dreams and your goals. And at the end of the day, you're the one that decides if you want to sign or hang out, if you want to pursue it further, or if you want to take a pause on it.
This has been another episode of the Business Buyer Diaries. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I hope you're realizing that business ownership is no cakewalk. Check the podcast notes for a link to the DIY due diligence program, the complete list of show sponsors, and for media inquiries. Music written and composed by Wes Schrock. I'm your host, Nathan Platter. Join me again on the next one.